Oh my God, I love that. So I have
Yeah.
to ask you though, I feel like as girls, you talk with your girlfriends, like, hey, like, how would you be as a mom or, your reaction if you were to ever get pregnant? We
Yeah.
all have had those conversations with all of our friends. So Renee, the moment finally happens for you, you find out you're pregnant. What was your
Mhm.
reaction to that?
I was so excited. So I just felt like I was waiting for it to happen at some point. I was like, hey, like at some point I'm gonna become a mom. That will be the journey that I'm gonna take. But then once it happened, it was like, oh, I am actually pregnant. Like this is a thing that's going to happen. Now there's this child that I'm responsible for forever. But yeah, it's like, I tweeted out this morning that I was like, oh my God, I had a dream about changing like baby diapers, and I've never changed a baby diaper before. I've never done it. So there's so many things with babies that I've just not got to do. I have very little experience with babies, so we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. But I also feel like, there's so many books, there's so many movies, there's all these documentaries, there's so many things to like read and look into that like then that becomes overwhelming, and everyone likes to like project their ideas onto you and whatever.
All the mommy blogs.
Oh my God, totally. I'm like, I can only imagine where that even goes once you have the baby. So I'm just trying to take it with a grain of salt. I'm a person, I've been raised by another person. Hopefully some of that has been passed down to me in some other capacity, and it'll all be fine. But I'm also excited to see how Jon reacts to like having a baby in the house. Him in like dad mode is going to be great.
Oh my God. Have you guys, like, obviously you've talked about it, but what are some of the things that you're like, oh, I'm just like really excited for, or like really excited, like for yourself as a mom and also seeing him as a dad?
I think the things that I'm really excited about is to raise a badass girl. Like finding out that she was a little girl, I was like, yes. Like I just feel like there's so much knowledge and experience that I want to give to this little girl. Like I want her to like come out swinging. Like she is going to be a little badass. So I'm really excited for that aspect of it. And I think even for Jon too, right away he's like, oh, she's going to be like a jujitsu champion, and she's going to be like wrestling on the mat, like right off the bat. So I think just kind of picturing this sort of like rough and tumble little girl that we're going to have. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? She might come out and be just like this sensitive, sweet little soul, but I feel like she'll be like a little mixture like piss and vinegar.
I love how guys always go like the sport route. They're like, oh, she's going to be an athlete. She's going to do this. And it's funny because that's like the first thing that you just said Jon did. Like he's like already putting her into jujitsu and all of this, right?
Yeah.
It's really crazy to me, but it's so much fun though. But have you gone into like the full baby mode planning? Like, have you like decided like this is what the nursery is going to look like? This is what the, baby shower is going to look like?
I've not thought about any of that stuff yet. I should say I've not thought about it. I've thought about it, but I've not really pulled the trigger on anything. I have to put in new floors in a couple of the spare bedrooms in our house. So I'm doing that. I literally just signed the contract to do that the beginning of January. So once that's done, then I can get the nursery ready and pick out a color scheme and figure out how that's going to look. And I'm very excited to get that room put together. I always feel like when we bought this house that the room that is going to be the nursery, I think always in my head, I was like, that'll be a baby's room one day. So it's cool now to finally be able to do that. But I mean, as far as so many other things you have to think about of like, I had a girlfriend reach out to me. She's like, oh, have you thought about like a birthing plan? I'm like, no. I mean, it's just going to come out, right? Like, what kind of a plan do I need? I don't know. You push, right? I don't know.
You would think so, right? But what did she say? Is there's obviously got to be more to that, right? That we like don't know about.
Are you going to have a doula? Are you going to be getting the drugs, like the pain medicine? Which hospital are you going to have the baby at? Like all of these different things. And I'm like, oh, right. I have these options. I have all these things that I need to like think about. Luckily for us, I mean, we've got so much time to think about it that I'm trying not to like, and I hope that this kind of keeps going with parenting where I'm trying not to just like overthink it. I'm trying not to be like totally obsessive about it. I do feel like now that I know that it's a little girl and we've got like a name picked out, we're like ready to go. Now I'm like, okay, I want her to like be here. Now I'm like ready for her to be here. But I've got months and months to wait. So
and Jon's gonna be a girl dad. That's the thing, a girl dad.
I said that to him, and he was like, "What does that mean?" I don't like. He had not really heard like the term of girl dad. But he's going to be such a good dad. I am like so excited for him. I feel like he is going to like, I already know that any and all of our kids will be obsessed with him. I'll be the bad guy for sure. Yeah, he'll be the baby face. I'll be the heel.
Well, I feel like the mom always has to be the one that like really implements the rules because you're the one that's like, I know what's good for you. Like, I want what's best for you. There's always got to be the bad guy in like mom dad situations.
Yeah. Yeah. Jon just has so much more patience than I do too. He's like a very patient. His mood's pretty much always the same, where like I can be all over the place. So yeah, I'm like, I feel like he'll just always be that like, centered person, always in a good mood. Yeah,
the kids are good though. It's almost like they, you know, you balance this. You're like opposites attract. Do you believe in that? Like the whole opposites attract thing?
I do. I don't know that it's like, I don't know that it's the thing that everybody needs, but I do feel like it's nice to have that balance where one person makes up for something that the other person is maybe lacking in, and vice versa. I do think that makes for a pretty harmonious relationship.
So now let's talk about the AEW reveal of how everybody found out that you were pregnant. It was kind of out of nowhere. And as somebody that was watching the show, I was taking my notes, I was tweeting, I'm listening to Jon's promo. And then all of a sudden he says, I got a pregnant wife at home. And I'm thinking, what now? Like it was a very slow process in my brain to like really like calculate what he had just said. And it kind of seemed like everybody was like, what? Like this just came out of nowhere. So Renee, I gotta ask, what was the plan in all of this? Was this always just like, let's just throw it in there? How did you feel about the reveal?
Definitely not always the plan. You know, as it got closer that we're like, hey, I guess like we should be announcing it soon, because I'm sure at some point people are gonna be like, is she just getting really fat? Like what's going on? So I'm like, well, at some point we're gonna have to announce it. And then he was already in Jacksonville and he was messaging me and he was like, I think I'm just going to say it tonight. And I was like, okay, if that's what you want to do. And it just took so much pressure off of me because I kept thinking, I'm like, oh, I kept trying to think of how we were going to announce it. I didn't want to be like cheesy or like too over the top or too emotional or vulnerable with it. So the fact that he took those reins and I didn't have to think about it beyond that was easy. But yeah, it was funny for me because it was almost like a throwaway line in the promo for him. He just kind of like said it and then moved on. It wasn't like the purpose of the promo, but it was such a pivotal line. And immediately my phone was just like, did I just hear that right? Like, and my phone was just blowing up with friends being like, excuse me? Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was pretty cool. And it was just like nice to have it out there. And now it's public knowledge and people can take that information and do what they want with it. But now I didn't have to worry about doing some like big fancy reveal or take a picture of like the baby inside me or whatever.
No gender reveal parties, no blowing up places, none of that. I almost feel though that Jon was probably pretty excited and like couldn't wait to give out the news. That's probably why he like texted you like, hey, can I just like drop this in tonight?
Yeah, I think just like that information for him too. I think I don't know if it's for all dudes, but it's like that sort of like that fear turns into excitement to like, okay, cool. Like it's obviously it's such a huge deal that now to have this like life-changing information, you want to tell people because you want to talk to people about it all the time. It was because we had told like a couple friends and family and stuff prior to announcing it, obviously. So I was like, I had a few people that I could actually talk to about it, but now that it's like open season and I can just talk to anyone about it, it's nice.
That is so awesome. I'm so excited for you guys. Like, I can't wait to get like my, Twitter alert where it's like, oh my God, Renee had her baby and like everything just like fireworks blowing up, all of that.
Wild.